This is going to be basically my first video. I've done a few others, really just testing the waters, getting my feet wet, playing around with the, different controls and things, different features, just getting acquainted. So in this video, I'm just going to be playing the game here, and I wanted to talk about what the purpose of this game, what the purpose of this channel is. Go over the name, why I named it, what I named it, and etc., etc. But for right now, I am going to enter my Acid Lab here. I am in a public lobby, so I don't want to get griefed or something as I'm figuring this out. So this is basically my first official video here that I'm doing. I'll probably redo it in the future. But, so first of all, so in this video, I'm going to be going over the Halloween 2025 update, while I do my various missions and things, show you guys about that, I'm going to be talking about this channel and what it's all about. And I'm also going to be figuring this out as I go, kind of walking you guys through some things live, as I'm brand new to making YouTube videos. Well, I've been doing it about a year now, a little bit under a year, and not for like a year straight. I did it last year about this time for a couple of months, and then just basically fell off. So getting back into it now that we're getting back into the fall, winter months, and my business is slowing down, getting back into it. So yeah, I'm basically just right now figuring out how to use the camera. I just bought that today. One of the reasons why I chose to do gaming as part of my content, part of it is because it's just really easy. This camera is literally 20 bucks. I already have the PS4. Video gaming is pretty popular on YouTube, and I enjoy it. So the drafting table, why is it called the drafting table? Well, really it's in honor of my father, who has passed away. But one of the things that he was into was drafting, and he wanted to do that as a job. I think he actually did briefly, but remember we had this big drafting table at our house. For those of you who don't know, it's kind of like being a architect, but it's not as in depth. Like, you don't have to go to school for as many years and stuff to do it. Basically, hang on here. Let me actually just go ahead. I'm just going to sell my acid, actually. So let me see. Oh man, it says the number of CEOs. Busy. Okay, so I can't register as a boss yet. I need to register as a boss in order to sell this. So I'm just going to have to hang out here for a while. I'm going to put it in my menu here to register as a boss, so that when it does become available, I can just hit the button. Okay, so back to the drafting table. Yeah, my dad was into drafting, and like I said, for those who don't know, it's basically like being an architect. You have these big tables, kind of look like a whiteboard or chalkboard, but they're on a stand, and you can tilt it back and forth, and there's different instruments connected to it, like a ruler that slides up and down so you can make straight lines, and there's lots of different things you can, accessories you can put on and off it. So yeah, he was into that, and my dad ended up passing away a number of years ago. What has it been, about 7, 8 years ago now. And so I thought I'd name it that in honor of him. Also, this channel, what it's really going to be about is actually not gaming, believe it or not. So far, that's pretty much all that you're going to see is like gaming videos. Really, this channel is about kind of like going through a midlife crisis and I guess you could say it's starting out. It's for, oh look, I can start my organization now. Let me go ahead and start that. Sell this acid. Okay. So basically, yeah, like if you're somebody who has higher aspirations in life other than living in your mom's basement at 30-year-old playing video games, but that's basically what you're stuck doing right now. That's kind of what this channel is for. It's for those people who, you know, want to have a do-over in life, or, you know, want to go somewhere, but kind of for right now you're just stuck. So in those moments, what do? We pretty much just play video games or watch a movie, do social media, whatever, to drown out our sorrows, or worse, some people have other addictions. But for a lot of us, you know, we play video games, something to do to pass the time. I did used to be an addict, so this is definitely a step up, like an addict to, you know, drugs and things and stuff back in my day when I was young, high school age, early adulthood. Now this is my vice. I will binge video games. So, not a big time gamer. I typically, like I said, I'm a binger, so I'll go through phases. It was the same thing when I was an addict too. I would go through binging phases, and then, you know, I might go weeks without really using, but then, you know, I'd go through a phase where I just binge. So, anyways, let me actually pull up this. See if I can pull up this stream on my computer. There we go. Alright, the audio is working, that's good. So where was I? Yeah, so this is my addiction now, games. This is my vice. I'll binge. For a while there I was binging COD, Call of Duty. I think I first got back into games because my little brother, when he was still at home, going through high school, I wanted to find a way to bond with him, so he was big into games. His big thing was Rocket League, so I binged that for a while until I realized that I had absolutely zero hopes of ever being able to compete with some of these people who just have 24 hours a day to just play it and get just insanely good, to the point where they're just flipping through the air, hitting the ball into the goal. I binged it for a while, got decent at it, but I just was like, I don't have the kind of time to put into this to actually become as good as I would need to be to, you know, even be able to hold a candle to some of these people out there. So anyways, that ended. Binged COD for a while. My latest thing has been GTA. Have not played it for quite some time. Honestly, really since San Andreas. GTA 4, I think I played a little bit, mostly at my friends' houses. But yeah, I got the game, and like I said, I'm kind of a, just, you know, I'll pick one thing as my drug of choice, if you will, and I tend not to switch between vices very much. So this is my thing, GTA. Right now, of course, we're delivering the acid lab, and let's see, is there anybody? I always jump in and out of my mini map, making it bigger to just kind of keep an eye on who's out there. And if you look, if you notice on the outskirts of the map, let me pull it back up again, like even if nobody's nearby, you can see the blips kind of moving to get an idea, like if anybody's coming near you or if there's any potential threats. Honestly, the Acid Lab is literally, in my opinion, it is the best business in the game, hands down. Best money-making method. You know, a lot of people say the Cayo Perico heist, the island. I disagree. The reason why I say this is the best is because, you know, and if you sell in a public lobby, which is incredibly easy to do, a lot of businesses are very hard to do, but if you sell in a public lobby, you can literally make $500,000 for every sale, and it literally takes you like 5 to 10 minutes to do. Even on some of the harder sale missions like this one, it takes me all the way across the map. But as you can see, and you know, I'm like talking and stuff and not fully paying attention to what I'm doing, but as you can see, it's gonna go very quickly. And the thing is, because it goes so fast, typically you can basically stay off the map pretty much the whole time. Let's say it takes you 5 to 10 minutes. Oh crap, I'm not paying attention, trying to multitask here. Just got hit by a truck. Oh, you're lucky, by the way. Okay. So, yeah, so it really, like, especially if you get the sale mission where you have it delivered on top of the parking garage, I mean, that literally takes, like, between 5 and 10 minutes on average to complete. You know, it takes, like, a minute and a half to get to the garage. And, you know, you don't have to drive to the top. You just shoot someone in the cop car, and it triggers the police, you know, chasing you, the wanted level and all that, which you do have to trigger that, because you can, I've had it to where even though it, like, I got the stars and the police came after me, it didn't actually register, and then when I got to the truck to make the delivery with the bike, it was shut, and I had to drive all the way back and fully trigger the event. Anyways, that's a whole separate deal, so you will run into that sometimes, but normally, you know, you just go up there. I don't even go to the top. I just go on the first level, shoot at some of the cop cars, make sure, you know, you got to make sure that the I don't know how to explain it. Not the normal police, but the police that show up as little red circles, not like the flashing blue and red dots. The kind that show up as the red circles, and the helicopter that shows up as the red helicopter blade, not the police one with the radius of, you know, the visibility cone or whatever you want to call it. Let me check my map again. Okay, guy is kind of coming straight at me. And there's also a CEO or motorcycle club president over there. Luckily, we're going this way. But yeah, so like, let's say that those guys were in oppressors or something coming at me. I would have a long time ago activated my ghost organization and gone off the radar. And that gives you 3 minutes. So again, say if I got the easy one at the parking garage, it takes me like a minute and a half to get there. But when you start the mission, you automatically have a minute before you're visible to other players. So, you know, once you start it, oh crap, these guys are shooting me. Hang on here. So, you know, once you start it, you can already get most of the way toward the parking garage with the minute that it gives you to be off the radar. And then, you know, again, like I'm doing, you make the mini-map big, so there's the mini-map small, let's make it big by pressing down 2 or 3 times, depending on how many people in the lobby. First time you press it down, it shows, you know, the first part of the list, the overflow of the list. If there's more than, I think it's like 20 people, it'll show 2 lists, and then you press down again, and there is the bigger mini-map. So, of course, you guys play GTA, you already know that, preaching the choir right now, but, so, press down 3 times real quick, and bam, we can see if there's anybody near me, or anybody that potentially might be coming near me on the outskirts of the map. Like, I saw a sparrow, the purple sparrow blip, up in the top right corner. I don't know if you guys can see that. Alright, where's my next one? I gotta pay attention here before I run out of time. I think it starts with a 20 minute or something, so I have used up my 10 minutes so far, but this is taking a little bit longer. I did have to go all the way to the other side of the map. Of course, like I said, I am talking, I am multitasking right now. I'm also brand new to this, so it's like it's definitely taking a toll on my ability to focus on the game, what I'm doing here. Sure, as I go, I'll get better and better at it. I'm also, if you see me looking back and forth, it's because I have my computer screen here, my game screen here, and alright, let's see. So yeah, so again, you know, you stay off the map with that first minute, and then, you know, get an idea where everyone is. And by the way, I should say this also, before I ever start my cell mission while I'm still inside of the freak shop or the lab itself, the Brick 8, I think it's called, just heard somebody slam the door. I don't know what that's all about. But before I ever even start the mission, you know, I'm looking at the map, like from the pause menu. I'm looking at the map and getting a feel for the lobby, seeing who's out there, what's going on. Oh look, there's a pumpkin head. Jack-o'-lantern or whatever. By the way, I do like to get these during this Halloween thing. I think you get like 50 grand for collecting 10 in the day. So that's a pretty big no-brainer. I mean, just by doing like your acid lab or different things in the game, you're gonna end up probably coming across 5 of them. And there's like a number of locations around the map with a cluster of them very close together. So it's pretty easy to go and, you know, spend like 5 minutes and, you know, collect the rest. So you're basically making like 50 grand in 5 minutes. The way I think about it, and this goes back to the acid lab thing and why I think it's the best business in the game, but I really look at everything in like a dollars per hour kind of perspective. And that goes for real life too. Which again, this channel just isn't just about video games, specifically GTA. It's really about just life in general. And I'll explain more about that in a second. But yeah, back to the game. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, this is my last one here. So I did not even need to use my ghost organization. Let's see if I can make it from here. Probably not. Ooh, it made it. Nice. Alright, leave the area. A bike for additional RP bonus. But yeah, so I think about everything in like a dollars per hour type of perspective. So, and I like to think of it in, you know, somewhere between about, because really, I mean, they say the best business in the game is the Cable Perico heist, which you basically make about $1 million on that heist. And honestly, not even quite. Some people say you make 1 point whatever million, but it's really not. If you consider the startup costs, I think it's 100 grand and everything that goes into it. And of course, you know, it's like the chances of getting the absolute best loot, which I forget what that was. It's like some kind of a golden statue or something. I don't even remember. But, okay, where's the city? But the chances of getting that are so, you know, I mean, they're pretty slim. So, like, I like to think of things more so on the average what I'm going to make, like 9 times out of 10, not like the absolute best case scenario. So realistically, from all the calculations I've done, doing the KO Perico heist, you're going to make about maybe $700,000-800,000 each time you do it. But, I mean, close to $1 million. Close to $1 million. So, resolution is pretty bad. I need to figure that out. Why is it so bad? Yeah, guys, I'm going to try to figure that out in a second. Try to get rid of the green screen as well as... Oh, crap, wasn't paying attention. Now I crashed. Okay, I didn't die. That's good. Man, that resolution is horrible.
No.
So, yeah, so like, basically, I think of it like every 10 minutes I want to make $100,000. That's really about the most money that's possible to make in the game. Like I said, the KO Perico heist, if you're just looking at money per hour, it's like the best thing that you can do to grind to make that money. The reason why I say the Acid Lab is better is because of the passive nature of it. It's like baking. Oh crap! It's like baking a cake, right? Let's say that it takes you 45 minutes to mix all your ingredients and put it in a cake pan, preheat the oven. But it might take 2 hours or more to bake, right? So you could say it takes 2 hours and 45 minutes, maybe another 15 minutes to like get it ready after the baking process. So like, let's just round up to 3 hours. So you could say that it takes you 3 hours to make a cake, but technically it's only 45 minutes to an hour of active time actually like grinding to make that cake. So that's how I think of it. When you consider the Acid Lab, I mean, you basically just, while you're playing, you call Mutt every, 30 minutes or so of gameplay time, and you order more supplies, and then when it's ready, you load in. And as you can see, I mean, let me check here. So, I can't tell how long I've been streaming, but I forgot to check the time on that Acid Lab sale, but I mean, what was it? About 15 minutes, I think, with me, going really slow, talking to you guys, everything, crashing my bike, all that. I don't even know where I'm going right now. So, 15 minutes, and I make $500,000 right now because it's the ×2 for the weekly, update. I made $1 million in like, 15 minutes. If you add in time, calling Mutt and stuff, let's round up to 20. But even 30 minutes, you're making $1 million, or during the normal time you're making $500,000, right? Of course you do have to pay for the supplies and stuff, so realistically it's more so maybe 300,000-400,000, but still $300,000 or $400,000 in 10-15 minutes, 20, whatever. That's still really good. And it's like, with grinding the KO Perico, it's so repetitive. It's just a grind. I mean, you got to spend a good hour or more. I think on average, really, it takes me about like an hour and a half to do it, if you include all the setups and everything. So, that's an hour and a half for about $1 million of pure, just hard grinding out missions. And sometimes things can go wrong. With this, it's basically just, 15 minutes or so and you're done. Call Mutt every little while you're playing the game. And so yeah, I basically, when I'm playing GTA, I can make pretty easily
Good to see
about,
Whoa, don't mind me.
what is it? Oh, it's 1:54 a.m. So real quick on the pumpkin head things. The pumpkin heads are jack-o'-lanterns. They reset where I live at 2 a.m. I think it's like California time or something. No, Central time, Pacific time, something. At midnight is when they reset. But where I am, I'm on Eastern time, so it's at 2 a.m. when it resets. Anyway, so yeah, I was gonna try to collect the 10 jack-o'-lanterns for the 50,000, but I think, well, I have 5 minutes. Let's give it a try, actually. Um, okay, so the best place to go to do it is back this way. Let me set a marker. It's right up in here. Is this right? No, crap, it's not. So I think the Acid Lab is definitely by far, it's the simplest, quickest, easiest um, thing to do for the most amount of money. You can do it solo, you can stay off the radar, get that minute off the map, and then, keep an eye on who's out there. If you see any trouble, just open up your ghost organization from the menu, and you're good. And that gives you another 3 minutes. So, I mean, I've only been griefed, honestly, in all my time playing GTA, about a couple of years now. I've been griefed just a small handful of times while doing my Acid Lab sales. Um, so yeah, great business. I love it. And to be honest, I mean, as you can see right now, I have, well, maybe you can't see on the screen. Okay, I have about, oh, you can't see because of where my face is placed, but can I get the jack-o'-lanterns? I think there's one up here. Where is it? No? Where was it? Was it this one? Oh, I don't think I'm going to make it. I only have 3 minutes. I don't think I'm going to make it. I don't even know how many I have. Where is it?
Look out, man!
I'm not going to make it. I can't remember where they are.
Hey!
Not remember where they are. I know there's 10 of them right around here. Man, get out of my way, dude. Alright, let's see. I know one is it, where the heck? Okay, it's this house right here. Wait, where are they? You know what? I wonder if I've already got these. I must have already got them earlier. Okay, so we're not making that. Okay, so back to, what were we talking about? Yeah, I honestly don't really do heists. I pretty much just play solo. Um, which, I'm more than open to, I don't know, I really don't like playing online lobbies without a crew, which I did start a crew. If anybody wants to join, hit me up. Tell you how to join my crew. It's called what is it called? It's called the Prodigals, I believe. The abbreviation is Sons. You can see right up there, yep, Sons, Sons. Alright, yeah, I've just been solo playing. I'm a part of another group, the Aces, another, what do you call it? Let's see, where should I go right now? I'm gonna go to my arcade. Let's see how to do things. I'm a part of this other, what do they call it? Not a gang, like a club, what is it? A crew, that's right. You go to Rockstar and register and all that. So sometimes I play with those guys, but it's just, I'm not super social, so, like, sometimes I'll join up, but honestly, like, the thing that bugs me with the people that do the crews and stuff is, like, I mean, this other dude, Greg, like, he runs the crew, and I don't know. It just seems like it takes forever to get anything done. He's always waiting for people to load in and whatnot. And, I mean, it's cool. It's his peoples and stuff. But we just start a new day. Let me see what the daily challenges are. Participate in a rally race, junk energy time trial, and a fair during taxi work. Yeah, so I found even though like running with the crew, um, and doing all your sale missions together and stuff, like that really is honestly the best way to make money is if you can hook up with a crew and run heists and, just everybody's um, just helping each other out. If you have a organized enough crew, like you can even do a public lobby and just take it over and get all the same perks and stuff. But nobody's going to be griefing you. Everyone's going to be working together. Um, I've done that before. I actually have a couple of different groups that I hang out with sometimes on here. Um, Kind of trying to get my own thing going though, because like I said, it's just other people's stuff is too disorganized for me. I like to be like very militant, very organized, and almost militant with it, where it's like I'm in command or whoever. Like I don't mind following other people's commands, but um, gonna get my popularity up real quick. Um, but I like it to be organized and you know, actually everybody on the same page getting stuff done, not just people goofing off and whatever. So yeah, if anybody does want to join my GTA crew, um, actually, I'll touch on something real quick. Uh, Kind of like going back to the purpose of the channel. Um, you know, One thing
Mutual. How can I be of service? Sure.
Uh, I don't know who this dude is, but I don't want him to watch the live stream.
See ya. Hello, hello. How can I help you? I hope you're getting high on our supply. That's like the first rule or something. can I help you?
So, okay, so basically what I had to do is I went to menu and I went to settings, devices. No, I went to broadcast settings, advanced, and then there was an option for my background, and I just said chroma key. Now this is kind of funny thing here, but this background I literally made out of a piece of green fabric I just bought at Walmart, and some, I want to say 1/2 inch or, yeah, 1/2 inch PVC pipe I had left over from a job that I did.
Not the fun kind.
And I literally just like bungee corded it to a vacuum cleaner, and I made a frame out of PVC. I don't know if I can move this, and you can kind of see right there the PVC pipe. But yeah, so adjust this. You can see the PVC pipe frame around it. Literally just went and bought some PVC. No, I had the PVC, sorry. Bought some green fabric from the fabric aisle at Walmart, crafts aisle, and quickly made this frame out of some PVC pipe, and then bungeed one side to a vacuum cleaner because it stands upright. So that was a good like holder base thing. And then I had these little metal hooks to hook it. It just kind of fit to hold the PVC pipe, and then I just pushed those into the drywall. So pretty ghetto, but got to do what you got to do. Don't despise the day of small beginnings, is what they say. But anyways, so where were we? Okay, my acid lab is filling up. Which, by the way, guys, I do not claim to be like good at this game at all. I just really play it for fun, and I like to make money. I like to make money, build my empire, get cool cars and stuff. I mean, I can hang, like, if I start fighting another player, I mean, it'll be pretty tied or close to tied. You saw some lightning strikes, which means it must be 4 a.m. in game. Alright, so let's go ahead and get my Sparrow and also my Raju. I'm gonna fly to the Raju with my Sparrow. Alright, so this is cool. I might end the stream soon. Like I said, just trying to get a hang of everything. So I figured out how to do the green screen, cut out the background. Now I just got to figure out how to get the resolution up, because that's pretty low quality. I think you guys would agree. So, but alright, real quick, I'll finish as I fly around, practice flying in my jet. I will finish telling you guys about myself and the purpose of the channel. So, like I said, back living in the basement at my mom's. you know, kind of going through a start over phase, midlife crisis. But before that, I did actually run and, you know, successfully ran a painting company and remodeling. Well, I shouldn't say remodeling because, like, I'm not a licensed contractor or anything as far as, you know, like, licensed for, you know, permitting, plumbing, electrical, etc. That I do already. Who put that tree there? Call Moore's Mutual. Dang. What was I saying? Man, I'm getting tired.
MMI, we expect the unexpected. I think we can handle that.
Alright, let's do something else. Let's get...
Can we please get moving?
Get the Phantom Wedge while I wait for my jet to be able to be spawned back in. I need to go see the chiropractor. My neck is like, needs to be popped.
Is this really happening? You asshole!
So yeah, I ran a painting and renovation business called a renovation because I can't really do remodeling. I can't really do much electrical or plumbing unless it's just, you know, replacing like with like. That you can do and not, you know, break any rules as far as permitting and stuff like that. So I did a lot of painting, drywall, flooring, you know, stuff to, I like to say renovation. So renovating basically means to refresh, to renew. So I did a lot of work in that field for about 10 years. So I'm about 30, started when I was about 20. So about 10 years in the game. And I mean, I did all right. You know, I definitely grew it to a, you know, $100,000 business. You know, doing, you know, in the hundreds of thousands every year. It was a lot of stress though, a lot of work. In order to maintain that, for me, you know, I didn't have that good systems in place. So for me, like coming from a dysfunctional background and not having some of those habits I spoke about earlier in the video, you know, it was definitely a lot of growth that I had to go through, and it took me a lot longer than I thought it would. Plus, I'm like really ADHD really bad. So I have a very difficult time, you know, focusing, time management, all that kind of stuff that goes along with ADHD. So yeah, it was definitely a lot harder than I thought it would be. There's a lot more potential there than what I took advantage of. Another problem I have is that I tend to listen to people's sob stories, or, you know, allow people to talk me out of the price that I know I should be charging. So, like, you know, I'll second guess myself, things like that. But anyways, you know, in spite of all that, like, I've made a living being self-employed for pretty much most of my life. You know, just being entrepreneurial. And, you know, like I said, with the business, it was a lot of work to maintain. You know, I was probably working 60 to 80 hours a week. You know, doing all the physical labor myself. I did have some employees and subcontractors who I hired to help with a lot of the physical labor, but I was still doing a tremendous amount of physical labor myself, anywhere from 20 to 50 hours of physical labor per week, and then anywhere from, you know, 20 up hours of, you know, office work and paperwork, stuff like that as well. And then, of course, you know, 4 times a year you have to file your quarterly taxes. Once a year you have to file your yearly taxes. And sometimes that could take me a whole week just by itself. of, 40, 50, 60-hour work weeks, sometimes multiple weeks if I was also doing jobs during that time, and I only had a few hours a day to put in to all the bookkeeping and getting ready for tax season. Like I said, taking a week or weeks to prepare all of that. There's a pumpkin head right there. So it was a lot. It was a lot. Really burnt me out. Like I said, I made really good money at it. Still do. Can make anywhere from 30 to over 100 an hour doing it. But like, it's not always consistent. So that's one of the problems, the lack of consistency, sometimes even making over $100 an hour. When you think about all of the time that you spend, doing paperwork and just stressing about, am I going to get a job? Am I not going to get a job? Really, that $100 an hour, because it's not consistent. It's not like you're making 100 times 8 or 10 every day. So making, anywhere from 600 to 800,000 bucks a day. It's more like you might make that for a couple of days, but then have weeks where you don't even make close to that. You might only make, a couple $100 for the whole week or less even. And of course, you have a lot of expenses, gas, storage locker to keep tools, and I've had to rent, storage for vehicles, lots of stuff. So one reason why I moved back into my mom's, because, keeping my personal expenses very low allowed me the ability to spend more on the business. And I'm blessed to have a mom who actually, let me turn around here, who actually, was willing to, give me really cheap rent so that I could, pursue my dreams and, try to do something with this business. Anyway, so I've tried to step away from it a lot of times now and go on to getting a day job or whatever, but it's like I just can't do it. I'm just too ADHD and I enjoy my freedom too much. So as hard as I've legitimately tried, it's just the focus that's required to really get a job and the discipline to sit down and just, put out the applications, do the interviews, and get the job, and then show up, punch in, punch out. I dread that. I dread that life. I'm entrepreneurial. My brain, they call it the rat wheel, just always going. I'm always thinking, always planning. So, for me, it just, I don't do good in a 9-to-5 setting. So, right now, it's almost 3 a.m. and I'm playing a video game, making videos, in hopes to turn this into a business. So, anyways, yeah, so that's a little bit about my background, and I've dabbled in trading stocks, cryptocurrency. I have flipped cars before. I would like to get into real estate, but due to a not so good credit score and a lack of, capital to invest into that, I'm not able to do so at this time. But I do understand real estate pretty well, having worked in the property renovation business for over 10 years now. Also, my parents were property managers. Like I said, I rent from my mom. So she owns, she has owned multiple properties and she's always rented them. Right now I just rent a space in the basement. But I will say that even though technically I live in my mom's basement, my mom actually doesn't live there. It's a house that she rents to me and some of our other family members. So I've just been around, renting, real estate, that kind of stuff, a large part of my life. So I understand it pretty well, and if that's something that anybody out there wants to learn about, stay tuned. Definitely subscribe. I do have another YouTube channel as well. I actually have about 4 of them. They're all in the beginning stages, so um, you know, stay tuned for more updates regarding that. But I plan on doing a YouTube channel for like property renovation, how to run a handyman business, painting business, whatever. And of course, those skills you can apply. Like if you ran a painting business, you could run a flooring business, a carpet business, a power washing business, pretty much any trade business. Electrical, plumbing, HVAC, those require a lot more specialty knowledge, but you can definitely, apply a lot of the same principles to those businesses and do well at them. So if that's any of you guys are interested, stay tuned. I do have another YouTube channel that I'm starting out that is going to be dedicated to that, to property renovation, etc., etc. Maybe one day I'll get into teaching you guys about real estate as I learn. Another thing that I've done is I've always been a reseller ever since that's actually my oldest business since I was a kid. I used to resell something that wasn't, well, exactly legal. I've paid my dues, I've been in jail, been locked up, went through rehab and all that. But that was kind of how I started as a kid in high school, not hanging with the right crowd, not doing the right thing, but came from a dysfunctional home, all that, trauma, daddy issues, whatever, and I turned to a life of crime in the streets in order to cope, and in order to find my place and my people, my family, and, when I was 18, 20, that all kind of came to a crashing halt. Similar to these cars right now getting smashed up by my Phantom Wedge, when I got arrested and went to jail and all that. So, did 2 years of basically probation, I call it. Technically it wasn't, it was a rehab program, but yeah, basically 2 years of probation, 3 years in county jail, almost went to prison. That was when I turned everything around, got a regular job and then out in the world, regular employee position, punch in, punch out. Hated it, absolutely hated it. Did it for as long as I had to, saved up money, then started the business, started out painting, eventually branched into flooring, and overall property renovations. But yeah, so besides, that type of sales that I just told you about, you know what I'm saying? You can catch my drift. Besides that, I have also been a reseller of just pretty much anything. I mean, grew up in Southern California, so we learned from our Latino brothers down there how to hustle. Those guys would sell everything from street corn to different kinds of snacks and candies out of their homes. They would convert like their front entryway into basically like a miniature quickie mart with just all kinds of snacks and soda pop and chips, candy, all the kind of stuff, just selling it right out of their front room of their house. They could never speak English. I would always just show up. I was one of the few white kids in my neighborhood, I would say I was the minority in the neighborhood I grew up in Southern California. So, lots of Hispanic, blacks, few whites. There might have actually been more than I realized, but I always say that there either wasn't very many or they just all stayed indoors because they just didn't want to be around all the crazy stuff that was going on, all the crime. But yeah, definitely most of my friends growing up were, Latino or Hispanic, whatever you want to call them, and black, African American. Pretty much all my friends were black or Hispanic. I'm actually part Hispanic, actually kind of a large amount, you would be surprised to know, as well as African American. But, I obviously take after my white roots. But anyways, yeah, so I learned how to hustle. I learned hustle culture from those guys down there, And some of my first businesses as a kid were I did, what is that? Who's that jet? I've never seen that before. There's a literal jet flying in Grand Theft Auto. Where's it going? Can I catch him? I want to see if I can get my jet and go chase him. I don't think so. He looks like he's already gone. Now, that was a rare sight. I've never seen it. I've seen lots of helicopters flying, maybe some planes, but never a military jet. Anyways, yeah, so one of my first businesses was like, I actually copied the little, I called it, I was a little kid, I called it the candy house. But I don't know what the official term is, what they call it, but I copied the candy house thing where, every neighborhood in Southern California would have like 2 or 3 or maybe more homes of, people, Hispanic people who would just sell the snacks and stuff. Oh, what is this red dot? Is that the slasher clown?
Nowhere to escape now.
Oh no, it's like the money, the thing. The guy that stole the money. I basically never return it. I used to when I first started, but I always just keep the $25, 25,000 in cash. But yeah, so that was really my first business. We used to have this place called the 99-cent store. If anybody's from California, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The 99-cent store. Back in the day, they used to have 3 for $1 king size, Hershey's brand bars. So like all of your, Snickers, Three Musketeers, Reese's, all that kind of stuff. I'd get the king size 3 for $1, and I would sell them for $1 each. So I would triple my money there. And then they had Shasta sodas, Shasta Cola, the Tiki Punch. Anybody remember that? Shout out to the Shasta Cola memories from my childhood. That was the go-to soda of choice for me as a kid because you could buy a 6-pack at the 99-cent store for 99 cents. And we were really poor growing up, so we were always buying the cheap stuff. And I shop at the 99-cent store. So yeah, the Shasta Cola, and then what else would I get? Oh yeah, the Giant Nerds ropes. A bunch of stuff. And the sodas I sold for 50 cents each. So same thing. I would make $3 off of $1. I basically would try to triple my money. That was kind of my goal. And I sold a few other things, chips, bags of chips, whatever. I can't remember all what I sold, but yeah, I had a little shelf set up in our entryway, the little foyer of our little 3-bedroom, single-level house in Southern California with a swamp cooler on the roof. Anybody remembers the swamp coolers? A big, ugly box that you see on homes in California and Florida. But, yeah, so that was my first business. And then kind of my side hustle. Well, I'll tell you what happened in that business. One day my mom, which, it used to piss me off so bad, but now I kind of respect it. My mom, she's such an honest person. She tries to just follow every single law and just do everything right, everything by the book. It used to frustrate me, but like I said, I appreciate it now to, have a parent who's has such high integrity. But she, she one day was talking to the police. I think there was a neighborhood disturbance or something. Anyway, she called the police on someone. And while she's on the phone, she's like, "Oh, by the way, my son is selling, candy and soda pop and stuff out of our house. Is that legal?" And the sheriff, the local sheriff, was like, technically no. Like, it needs to be some kind of a business, gotta pay tax and all that. So they were like, yeah, we're gonna ask that you tell your son not to do that. So she told me how to shut it down. It's a very sad day. So I had a going out of business sale, sold through all my stock. She let me do that. And then I just, reinvested that capital into something else. Don't remember exactly what it was, but so my next business or kind of side hustle that I did on the side, including when I had the candy house, as well as after and just throughout my whole childhood, is I would basically trade things, which I actually learned that from my older brother. So quick story there. What happened with that was, we saved up a bunch of money. Not a bunch of money. My side hustle was actually recycling soda cans. So that's how me and my brother saved up some money, about, I think, like $50 each. But we recycled soda cans. So what we would do, because in Southern California, in California, you get 5 cents. Have you ever seen that 5-cent CRV on a soda can, an aluminum can? What that is you can get actually a nickel for recycling a pop can in the state of California. So, I think, 5 cents, yeah. So me and my brother would go out on a recycle day in our neighborhood. We'd open up everybody's recycle can and we would grab bags of cans, aluminum cans, and then we'd take them to the recycle yard. Once we saved up, I don't know, 1,000 of them or something, and we would redeem them for cash value. And I kind of feel bad about this now, but we used to think that people were just really dumb and would throw away money on accident, because actually somewhat frequently when we were looking for our soda cans in people's recycle bins, we would find a $5 bill just sitting right there on top. We thought, man, who's dumb enough to accidentally throw away money? Looking back, I realize now it was a tip for the garbage man, so I kind of feel bad that we were taking the garbage man's tips. But hey, I was like 10 years old, so I didn't know any better. Ooh, what is this car? The Cheval Type Super. Definitely like the look of that. I'm gonna need to buy one of these. So that let me put my blip on the map, my waypoint. So we would so we'd get the soda cans, sometimes get that little tip, a little bonus, and we recycled it. So the thing that we so desperately want to save up money for as kids were BB guns. Yeah, back in the day, kids actually used to shoot metal BB guns as one of our favorite pastimes. Nowadays, kids just play video games and they do all their shooting in games. Me and my friends used to go target practice and shoot, birds and stuff, which, it probably wasn't that cool, but we'd go and we'd shoot. It wouldn't like kill them or anything. It just kind of, sure, it hurt. It wasn't, like I said, it was, looking back, wasn't the coolest thing to do, but we would take our BB guns out and shoot different things and set up little targets for target practice. And anyway, so my brother got the classic Red Ryder BB gun, the Daisy Red Ryder BB gun. The single pump action BB gun. I'm pretty sure it's the same gun in the famous Christmas movie, I think it was, where they kept saying, you'll shoot your eye out, you'll shoot your eye out. So he had that gun. I got a more advanced, like multiple pump up BB gun with a scope on it. I thought I was a little sniper. But yeah, so I learned about trading. So my brother, he took the BB gun one day, and we had a shared Xbox between us back in like 2000, I don't know, 4 or something. But we had a shared Xbox that our grandma got us for Christmas, and one day my brother comes home with a PlayStation 2. I'm like, bro, where did you get a PlayStation 2? And he's like, well, what happened was, or no, what happened was actually he came back with a second Xbox. I'm like, dude, why'd you get an Xbox? You already have an Xbox. And he's like, just watch, you'll see. Because he traded his BB gun. I'm like, why'd you trade your BB gun? You know, he traded it for an Xbox. He traded his Red Ryder BB gun that he spent so much time saving up soda cans to get. And he just goes and trades it. I'm like, bro, why would you trade your Red Ryder BB gun for an Xbox when we already have an Xbox? And he's like, oh, just trust me, bro. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude, you know. So next day, I think it was, yeah, the next day or a couple days later is when he had the PlayStation 2. I'm like, dude, what, you got a PlayStation 2 and an Xbox now? He's like, no, I traded the Xbox.
Oh, damn!
And I'm like, wait, you traded Xbox for a PlayStation 2? He's like, I traded for not only a PlayStation 2, but a PlayStation 2 and a Red Ryder BB gun. I was like, what? So you got the Red Ryder BB gun back? He's like, well, it's a different Red Ryder BB gun. But yeah, it's the same exact, the same exact type of BB gun. I was like, dude, how the heck did you pull this off? Like, who would do that? That's like a far better value. Because, Xbox and PS2, they were basically like the same price. So I'm like, who would trade a PS2 and a Red Ryder BB gun? So he told me the story. He's like, well, what happened was, he said, I had two friends. One had the PlayStation 2, or I think he might have had a couple of PlayStation 2s or something. Like he got an extra one for his birthday or Christmas or something. Anyways, he had another friend. He had one friend with an Xbox, one with a PlayStation 2, and a Red Ryder BB gun. And he really wanted the PlayStation 2, but we were kids with we didn't get allowance. We were super poor, grew up in the ghetto, so he had no way to get the PlayStation 2, no way to buy one. Our parents never really bought us anything. Our grandma, she had a lot of money, but she'd buy us like Christmas and birthday presents and stuff. That's how we got the Xbox. But he wanted the PS2, so what he did was he traded the Red Ryder BB gun for the Xbox from one friend, because he knew that his other friend really wanted an Xbox, because he had, I think, 2 PS2s or something like that. So he traded the Xbox for his Red Ryder, and then he went to his other friend and he said, hey, would you like to trade the Xbox for the PlayStation 2? His friend was like, yeah, sure, of course, I'll do it. And he's like, well, but the thing is, and like my brother didn't let on that he really desperately wanted the PS2. So he played it off like, the thing is, PS2 and Xbox, they're the same value, so if you really want this Xbox, you got to sweeten the pot. You got to add something on top of it. And so the kid's like, well, just go through my room and pick something out. So I think that was when my brother saw that he had a Red Ryder BB gun. He's like, will you throw in the Red Ryder BB gun? The kid's like, yeah, my parents actually said they don't even want me having that. They don't like me having it. And they don't even let me shoot it. So he's like, yeah, totally, you can have it. So that was how my brother did it. And I mean, for me, I was so impressed. I was like, bro, you are a freaking genius. You're my hero. And I took that principle of, trading up. That's what I called it, trading up, or flipping, I took that principle and I carried it into basically everything I did in life. I learned how to leverage my time. I learned how to, trade and flip. And so that's what I started doing. I started doing that with, everything from Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Game Boy games, Xbox, PlayStation. I mean, you name it. DVDs, eventually one day Blu-rays, and then PlayStation 3s, Xbox 360s, BMX bikes, skateboards. I mean, you name it, and I would trade and sell and flip. And I basically got to a point where I was running a miniature pawn shop out of my house. I mean, I had stacks of video game consoles, hundreds of movies on DVD, And of course, that's when I got into the whole slanging thing, you know. That's a whole story for another time, but, you know, did that, did my time. But, yeah, so, and during the slanging years, like, I would accept goods as currency, not just cash. And so that's when I really became like a pawn shop. And, yeah, I had so much stuff. I mean, I got snowboards, tools, like, you name it. I even had a freaking lawnmower one time that I ended up selling on Craigslist. And so that's what I would do. I mean, I'd sometimes pawn the stuff, but most of the time I try to sell it on Craigslist. And then when I got a little bit older, I learned about eBay. And I started selling on eBay in my early 20s. And so yeah, I have reseller accounts, I think, on Amazon, eBay, and Bonanza. And quick, give me this, I'm drowning. Oh crap. I'm about to drown. Let me see if I can. Did I get it? I got it, okay. And they gave me 2 stars. So yeah, that's how I got my start. So been a reseller all my life, been a flipper. Eventually I took the money from eBay and flipping and stuff on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace and all that. And I started putting into vehicles. Never really did a lot with the vehicles just because in order to do that legally, to sell more than I think it's 2 or 3 per year, you need to have a reseller's license. You need to be considered a auto dealer. In order to do that, you need to have a physical property that's considered your dealership, and you need to have, I think it needs to have a landline, at least 2 parking spaces to be considered dealership. Never had that, so never became a full-blown, auto reseller, car flipper. But I would like to continue that, and something that my grandpa told me. My grandfather-in-law, he told me, he would always say, Chris, it's all about your bag of tricks, The more skills you have, and that's something I want to talk about too, is skill acquisition, why that's so important. But, it's all about your bag of tricks. The more things you can do, the more skills you have, the more assets you have, resources, connections, your network, everything. The more of that stuff that you have, the more tricks you have up your sleeve, the more likely you are to survive any kind of economic downturn. You're never going to, just keel over and die if you lose your job or something. You will be able to survive. And so, yeah, so I've always tried to have multiple streams of income, and eventually started the painting business. And yeah, just time to turn over a new leaf. There's a lot more I could say, go into depth on that. I mean, some people think, wow, that's really awesome, Chris, you've done all these cool things, made all this money. But the thing that people don't tell you about being a hustler is like, the trade-off between that and a stable, steady job is like you don't have a predictable income, With a 9-to-5 job, you at least know that, how much you're going to be taking home every week based on how many hours you typically work or your salary or whatever it is, So you have that predictability, but the problem is the trade-off is that your income is capped pretty low. And so those are kind of the pros and cons. You got a capped fixed income, maybe a slow, gradual scaling up process, raises and stuff, 50 cents a dollar or whatever every year, a couple of years or something, You've got stuff like that, but the ceiling is just pretty low on stuff like that, unless you have a degree or you have some job where you can climb that career ladder. So you have that stability, that predictability, how much you're going to make, how many hours you have to work. You can plan your life around that, plan your vacations out, weeks, sometimes months in advance. And, you know, you just get into that flow, into that routine. That's one way to do it. The trade-off with being an entrepreneur is you can make way more money. There's absolutely no cap. There's no limit on what you can make as long as you're willing to, you know, become like an Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Donald Trump or someone, you know, and literally basically play chess with the world. You know, so yeah, there's virtually, the sky's the limit. I mean, take it as far as you want to take it. You know, but you know, you can of course decide if you want to cap it at, you know, 6 figures, you know, $1 million a year, 7 figures, 8 figures. You know, you basically can decide where you want to go up to, and where you want to, you know, cap your income at. Let me get a car. Let me see. Let me get my Ray shoe back. So, you know, that's the trade-off. You get a fixed income that's kind of low, but you get that predictability, that structure, or you can have potentially, you know, unlimited income, but it's not predictable. It is always up and down. It's all over the place, and it is work. You know, sometimes you have to put in ungodly amounts of hours, you know, in order to maintain whatever it is you're building or built. Wow, look at spawn right by my sparrow. So yeah, so you know, people are like, "Wow, Chris, you know, you grew a, you know, a business doing $250,000 a year, whatever." Yeah, I did, but I mean, it took such a toll. I mean, I was going to the chiropractor, you know, once, twice a week. I had to hire a personal assistant. You know, just, you know, eating out all the time. A lot of times not the best food because you're just always on the fly. So you're eating junk food and your body's breaking down. Your health is going down the tubes. And, you know, I wanted to change. And, you know, one thing is, when I was a kid, you know, I did all that hustling and stuff, you know, played the video games a bit, but mostly I was just like a hustler and just kind of trying to survive and make something out of myself. So, you know, we were, like I said, we were real poor, so I never really had a chance just to be worry-free and just be a kid and do all the things that kids do. They just play video games or just have fun with their friends, you know. And I did a little bit of that, don't get me wrong. Had some good times as a kid, but mostly it just seems like it was trauma, abuse, and stress, and just then, you know, life on the streets and gangs and whatnot. And so part of the reason why I'm binging on this game right now is like just you know, trying to just be a kid, you know, just be a kid again, just a big kid and just have fun. Now I've got a couple of kids in my life now. Kind of like became a father figure to a girl I've been in a relationship with. She had a couple of kids already when we started dating, and they ended up becoming, you know, kind of almost like sons to me. So that's actually why I bought the PS4. It's really for them. I wanted to give them away to have rewards and, you know, incentive to do their chores and whatnot. So, you know, their mom, single mom, kind of, you know, she likes to think that she had it all under control, but, you know, let's face it, it takes two. It takes two parents, I believe, to take, you know, I always say it takes two parents to make kids, it takes two parents to raise kids. So, you know, that's kind of me, that's who I am, you know. If you're someone who can identify with anything that I'm saying, you know, this midlife crisis, turning over a new leaf. Which, by the way, I want to say too, like, I did end up also, because I was trying to grow the business, I did end up getting into debt. Two forms. Like, I got behind on taxes, so I had that form of debt, and I now owe, and I'm paying monthly and just trying to get caught up as well. Get stuff filed, and I have to pay all those penalties because I got behind. Then also I took out a loan to try to grow the business, and it, you know, it didn't work so well, so I just ended up basically in debt. I tried to grow the business too fast, didn't have good systems in place, and basically just got burnt out. And then because I got burned out and I was leveraged out with, debt and stuff, I just basically like defaulted on it. And now I'm, got to pay off this debt and stuff. It just became something I got burned out and just too much to handle. And so that's what led me to do and trying to do this YouTube thing. So yeah, I would love to share with you guys and everything that I've learned over the years. And, really as I rebuild, I would like to take you guys on this journey with me and, teach you guys how to build something for yourselves. I believe in God, and with His help, I am absolutely 110% convinced that I will be able to rebuild. And I feel that this is one of the strategies that He has given me to do so. This eBay thing. Not eBay, sorry, the YouTube thing. And so yeah, I'm so confident that things are going to work out again. I'm kind of in a little bit of a ditch right now. But it's all good, man, In life, there's times where it knocks you down and you just got to just get back up and keep going, I like to say, if you're going through hell, keep going. You know what I'm saying? This too shall pass. You will get to the other side. So yeah, another thing about the drafting table names, like the drafting table is really about making drawings and blueprints. I actually was going to name this channel like the Life Blueprint or Blueprint for Life or something, but it turned out that like literally every variation of that name that I could think of was already taken. I do think you can actually have duplicate YouTube channel names, but it's like there's already enough people out there doing it with a significant amount of subscribers that I was like, you know what, I'm just going to pick something original. Drafting table, I did not really see anybody else with that name. Who knows, maybe there is someone out there, or maybe there is now, but let's see if I go through this bridge with the jet. Oh my gosh. Nice. Alright, so yeah, I thought I'd call it drafting table, in honor of my dad. I like to say that I'm a foundations guy. I have this philosophy that, in anything in life that you do, you need to lay a strong foundation in order to be successful and in order to, stay in it for the long haul. A lot of people can build something, but it just fails, in a short amount of time, or maybe even a long amount of time. Eventually it fails, but I believe that, the stronger your foundation is, the longer whatever you build on it is going to last. That's obviously true for structures, buildings, structures, homes, whatever. And I think that the same principles are true for life, and so yeah, that's really the blueprint that I want to make for you guys, is like, really how to have a successful life, how to build something, how to build a legacy. And I feel like in my life I didn't have the strongest of foundations, and that's why I got burnt out and why stuff started to fall apart. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. Sometimes you just have to know when to cut your losses and just start fresh, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing. I am starting fresh, starting over, and yeah, gonna try to get the foundation right this time. Well, guys, it's getting pretty late. Like I said, this was kind of just a test run here. Got my camera hooked up, my PVC and green fabric green screen. And yes, that's about all I have. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the broadcast. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. More content to come. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know, your thoughts. One thing I want to say too is I would love to, real quick as I end here, one last thing. I would love to, get my GTA crew going. I'd really love to get a group of people together. Build a community around just people that are either having a midlife crisis, wanting to start over, or kids who want to, start out and lay the right foundation and really be successful. Like I said, I'm somebody with over, 15 years of experience running businesses, whether they were, businesses as a kid, just little gigs and stuff. And I haven't even told you guys half of it, and I had the lawn mowing business, a lot of things, but from that as a kid and it's more than 15 really if you include that. I'm including maybe when I say 10 years, I'm maybe including a couple of years of that as actual work experience, particularly the lawn care business and things. So it really did teach me a lot, but really, what I've had now with actual businesses, I've had about, oh my gosh, what is it? About 12 years of experience running actually registered businesses, doing 20, 30,000, 40, 50, 60 grand a month, whatever it was. Again, I'm behind a lot of my paperwork, so a lot of these numbers I don't even know what they were. I do have logs of all the money I was just checks I was cashed, 10, 20 grand, just in and out, putting money in, coming out as fast as it's going in, paying people, So I know there's a few years I have on record that I did basically, personally made close to six figures. I don't think I've ever broken the six-figure mark, but well, I haven't, but as a business I have. I've done multiple six figures, but personal income after expenses, I've had a couple years, where I've made almost six figures personally, nothing too crazy, more than what a lot of people would say. Again, I want to share that with you, and then do this thing right this time around, and go for the millions a year, maybe even billions, So yeah, but again, I'm thinking, it's these principles, it's that foundation, it's these principles of self-discipline, time management, and character qualities, it's those things that need to be your foundation. And so, I'm thinking if we can, get a community together of people, in this game. There's so many skills I want to teach you guys. I've been in sales, I've had door-to-door jobs, calling people, cold calls on the phone. There is, so in the game, as I'm building this crew, networking, we can network online in this literal video game. We can, what was that? Tease my jet or something. But sales. So one of the things with sales is dealing with rejection, putting yourself out there. Whether you're door to door, cold calling, whatever it may be. But it's also a big thing. It's a numbers game. I've known people who were horrible salespeople, but they still made a living at it just because they got out there and they knocked on the doors and they get the door slammed in their face. And they just work the numbers, right? So something that I want to do is just grow the GTA crew, and it's the same principles, guys. Same principles as sales. Some of you guys I see on here, you've got these massive crews and you have these lobbies with all your friends joining up, all the people you've met from all over the world. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired right now. But you guys have got crews, and you're building businesses in GTA, and you're making hundreds of millions of dollars, and you're a level, 400, 500 player, and, you know, you've got all these people that you've recruited to your, you know, video game crew, and it's like, what you don't realize is those same skills you can apply in real life and just start making a killing, start making so much money. Um, and that's what I want to teach you guys. And, I know that this live stream right now, this video is like super low budget, right? It's super random. Um, I'm over here with a $20, streaming camera and PVC background with my green screen, and like I'm not even that articulate, you know what I mean? But I want to show you guys that, don't despise the day of small beginnings, right? I want to build this thing with you guys. I've honestly, like, I could be doing this. I know how to edit videos, and I have the software to do it. But I want to do something fresh and organic and raw, and really do this with you guys, so that people who don't have money, which, like, I don't have a lot of money, because like I said, I got into debt. But I mean, I have some, and I know how to go get it. I've gone from being completely broke with every account in the red and not knowing how I'm going to pay my rent or how I'm going to put food on the table one day, to the next day putting a check of $20,000 in the bank. And so, it doesn't really matter to me whether I have money or whether I don't money. I know how to get money, and I have skills and I have momentum built up. And that's one of the things you guys have to learn about too, is momentum, building momentum, the importance of momentum, and not letting that momentum slip, man. I mean, there's some things I pay for. There's certain things I've been paying for years, subscriptions to certain things. And, it's like my eBay store. I've honestly probably lost money on that thing, just because I haven't been active on it in years. And, I still pay the store subscription every month. It's like, why do I do that? Well, why? Because I have momentum, because I'm a top rated seller. Because if I ever choose to jump back onto that platform, I have that top rated seller status. I'm all set up. I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And I have plans for my eBay business, And so that's the thing about momentum. A lot of you guys out here letting your bills lapse, your phone number let's talk about phone number, man. There's so much momentum in your phone number you can build up. You know what I mean? Some of you guys out here want to have some expensive cell phone service, so you can have all your data to stream, and not stream, but to watch, to watch all of your TV shows or your social media, and you're paying for the smartphone, and you're going into debt, to pay monthly for a phone you can't afford, and pay $100 a month for some, all this data and stuff. Man, guys, listen, I used to be on Republic Wireless back in the day. It was $5 a month, then it went up to 10, then 15, and then they got bought out by someone. But right now, I think I have, for my main phone number, I have Mint Mobile. It's $15 a month, right? Why? Because I don't ever want my phone number to get disconnected. A lot of you people out here letting your phone number get disconnected because you're living above your means. You're living a life you can't afford to live. Oh, I passed it. So, you cannot let your phone number get disconnected. Now, listen, there's people, when I hand out my business card, my network, when I give my number to people, you got to understand, some people may not respond to your business card for years, right? You know what I mean? There's sometimes people call me, and they're like, hey, you remember me? I'm so-and-so. I'm this person's neighbor, whatever. You met me, you knocked on my door, whatever. You painted my neighbor's house, something, Imagine if my phone would have been shut off. That's a sale. That's work. That's a work that I've done years ago that hasn't paid off yet. if my phone is shut off, that's literally just free money, or not free, but money that I already worked for. It's just gonna slip away. So that's why, back in the days of Republic Wireless, if anybody remembers that, the $5 a month, Wi-Fi switch off, it would go from I think they rented cell minutes from tower usage from, like, I don't know, T-Mobile or something, but they would do that, and then they invented these phones that would switch between Wi-Fi. Before, it was like everybody was doing it. Republic Wireless, they kind of like pioneered that. But, they had the phones that would, switch back and forth, so they could offer this cheap, unlimited service for $5 a month, just kind of hope that people would go on Wi-Fi most of the time, which, they kind of built kind of a cultish community, and by and large, everybody did it. It was very successful, and eventually they sold the business to, I think, Dish Network, who, by the way, I'm pretty sure that Dish is trying to make a comeback. I've been thinking about this for a while because I've noticed, like, they bought out Republic Wireless, which has this infrastructure to switch between Wi-Fi and regular, cell towers. But it's interesting because they basically bought it out, and, so Dish owns Boost Mobile, right? So, like, Dish Network, they were a TV company. Why are they getting into the cell phone business, right? They bought out Boost Mobile, and then, well, they're a satellite TV company, I should say, to be specific. But, let's see, where's this guy at? Is he downstairs? Must be downstairs. So yeah, Dish, they buy it, and I remember reading about it when they bought a Republic, because that was like my phone company. They put everyone on Boost who had Republic, and the service just went to complete trash. And I'm thinking, why are they letting the service go to trash? And I read up on it, and it said they really bought the company not for, like, the customers. They bought it for the infrastructure and some of the engineers. It's like, okay, so they're trying to do something. So here's just my theory. We'll see if it pans out. Maybe it already is. Maybe it already is. But I haven't, followed up on the story. But my theory is that Dish is going to try to make a comeback with cell phones, but they're going to do, like, satellite phones. And that might become the new thing, the new thing that cell phone companies do, kind of like Elon Musk, with his Starlink internet and stuff. So I think Dish they're building up some infrastructure for something. That's just my theory, If anybody knows about that, let me know. But back to the Republic Wireless phones. Yeah, $5 a month, then I went up to 10, now I'm doing Mint for 15. And that's my main phone number. And I've had other numbers that I've used for different things, and I've canceled them or whatever intentionally. But, my main number, like, I'm planning to keep that for life, To illustrate this even further, I know a guy who has a painting business right now. I'm trying to talk him into selling me his business, but I don't think he quite understands the value that his business has. And really, I want three things. Like, I really don't care about his business as far as, like, because, it's like, it's not, he doesn't really have, he's just one guy, like me, doing painting. He doesn't have any employees. I at least have had employees and stuff. He did in the past, but he's just, right now, he's just, like, getting older, and he's always saying he's going to retire in a few years. But he, I offered to buy his business for $200,000. I was going to pay him, going to do an owner finance business acquisition and pay him, I don't know, like 20 grand a month for the rest of his life, pretty much, or something, until, that's 10 years, I guess. 20 grand, times 5 is 100, and another 5, 200 grand. So I was going to pay him like 20 grand a year for the next 10 years of his retirement, help give him a nice little padding to his retirement on top of, whatever he has saved up already. Because a lot of these guys, they get older and they retire, their businesses just fall to the wayside, So I offered it to him. He doesn't quite see the vision, but I'm trying to get him to understand. Like, I want to buy out his business for 3 reasons, okay? Number 1 is I want him to teach me everything that he knows. That's the main thing. Just that right there. That exposure to somebody who's been in the business way longer than me is so valuable to me. So that's number 1. Number 2 is I want access to all his records, his data. You know, basically his file cabinet. I want to be able to comb through every single job that he's ever done or every single job he has a record of. And I want to be able to reverse engineer and understand, you know, how he's pricing it, this and that, whatever. The other thing is his phone number. I want him to sell me his phone number because the thing is, this dude has been painting for like 50 years. Think of how many people have his phone number, right? I think it'll probably ring for the next 20 years. People just say, I wonder if this guy's still in business, you know. He's got probably so many business cards and flyers out there in the world floating around. So like I said, guys, you know, it's that momentum. That's a real big thing. Crap, I gotta lose my one level to get in the stash house. Let's see if it'll work. I lost my wand level. But yeah, so momentum, guys. Momentum is super, super important. But, yeah, so, you know, if we can build something in a game, we can take those same skills out into the real world, build something in real life. So, consider this sales training 101, networking 101. Right? YouTube, social media, like this is the #1 way nowadays to network and market. So guys, reach out to me. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your stories. I'm gonna raid this stash house really quick. And then I think I'm gonna get off. Oh man, I gotta go see a chiropractor. My neck is killing me. Well, it doesn't look like anybody's tuned in. I'm not really surprised. I mean, you know, you don't have any subscribers or anything. It's like, motherfucker! You know. Juicer. Alright, we're just gonna launch this guy in. Ooh.
Hey! You got a man down! You're dead! Drop him! Douche!
732738. Man, that's what it was last time. 732738. Whoops. 7327 and 38. I think the last one was. Yeah, so I think probably my YouTube title. The last time I did this, I mean, even like worse off than what I'm doing right now. Just literally, I think first time ever streaming. I think I got like 12 views. And this one I only got 1, and it's me. So, yeah, 12 views. I think it was because, you know, my title. I think with this title, you know, I said in the title, channel intro, because, you know, that's what it is. You know, people see that and probably, yeah, whatever. I put some stuff in there about, you know, acid lab sale and whatnot. But should think of a more PC name. What should we call it? Citric acid, vitamin C. Let's call it vitamin C. My vitamin C lab. But so yeah, we got Coca-Cola. We got our math lab. You know, selling those bags of math. We got, you know, 3x5 cards and little Ziploc baggies. We're slanging that math from our math lab. And we got our Coca-Cola factory. We get our vitamin C lab, vitamin C delivery service, and what else? We got our organic produce farm. Keep it PC, guys. Yeah, so it's called Mud again. Like I said, best business.
Sup? I'll call my buddy in pharmaceuticals. Gonna cost you, but I can get what we need.
Alright, how much money have I made today? Let's see. Okay, I got basically $3 million. I'm already sitting at 62 million, so we're gonna $65.7 million. And I'm going down, I'm going down. Oh, got destroyed. Alright, well guys, I think that's about it. I'm getting tired, so yeah, if anybody sees this, um, let me know your thoughts, comment, tune in next time. Let me know what you want to hear about, what you want to see, what you want to learn. Yeah, and I want to say too, if you are somebody who is into GTA and you're looking for a crew to be a part of or someone to help you grind and make money in the game, and as you can see, what am I? Level 216, I have $65 million. Own a lot of the stuff in the game. I'm pretty good at making money. I mean, I understand the GTA economy pretty well. So, yeah, if you're someone who's struggling, starting out or whatever, or maybe you used to play but lost your account and you're starting over, hit me up, man. Let's team up. Team up, run some heists, you know, make some money. Just have fun. You know, I do plan on doing some live, like, meetups, like at the Ellis Car Meet, or one really cool thing I would like to do is actually do a meetup for, like, rock crawlers and, like, off-road vehicles. I got a cool little spot I like to go to in the game to, you know, test out my off-road vehicles and see if they can make it up this little rock crawler spot. So I would like to meet up with people, you know, but yeah, just whatever, man, hit me up, you know. And if you want to learn about real life too, hit me up. We're going to make millions in the game, make millions in real life. checking on my businesses here. My nightclub is what is it at? We're about 700,000. I always sell it when it gets to about 1.1, 1.2 million. Basically, as soon as it gets to the point that not every single technician can be assigned to something, that's when you sell it. Because otherwise, they're just sitting there not doing anything. So never let it get up past more than like 1.1 million. As soon as it gets full, I basically wait for the South American imports, pharmaceutical research. I wait for those to get completely full, and then I switch those two techs to something else. And as soon as a third thing gets full, immediately sell it. And honestly, because those two that I've just listed are the highest paying, you really should sell it even right when those get filled up without even, switching your tech to something else. I love just making money passively, so I just wait a little while because I like to just, like I said, be passive with it. I'm not into all the whole just grinding out missions and things. I'd rather go AFK or something, just come back and sell it when, once in a while and do my thing. And like I said, Acid Lab's my favorite. I try to do it twice a day. Right now, I'll go to it really quick. Since this video really was, one of the main things it's about was the Acid Lab. Acid Lab is on ×2 this week. Where is it? Where is it? Did it get back in storage somehow? Oh, I left that session, that's right. Okay, service, lab, request. Ah.
Still here, friend.
Yeah, so slides on the way. So yeah, as you can see, just playing around for, a couple hours, whatever, I'm already at 300,000. I just sold it for $1 million. If it was regular gameplay without the Halloween update right now, with it being ×2 on your acid sales, it would be $500,000. So yeah, that's usually my goal every day, is to make $1 million a day in game. That's 7 million a week. So it can stack up pretty quickly. I think honestly you need about 200 million to buy like all the good stuff in the game. So I have bought some dumb things like the yacht, man. I don't think the yacht's really worth it. I bought it because it was on a promotion and on a sale 1 week, and the missions and stuff were paying double, but after I bought it, I mean, the missions were so bad that I didn't even attempt to use them as a means to recuperate my, money from buying the yacht. So, that's money that could have been spent on something else. It's really just a flex, as they say. Now, where'd my oppressor go? But, yeah, so I've bought some things I've regretted. I could have had more nicer things, but got quite a bit of cash here, getting ready to deploy on something, some toys. But yeah, I think you need about 200 million to get all the good stuff. You know, all the good vehicles, the fun vehicles, and you know, a good amount of all the businesses. The MOC, the Terabyte, the Avenger, Kosatka, all the good businesses, good planes, jets, helicopters, cars. I think you need about that much. Yeah, so like I said, if anybody's out there, you know, wants to grind with me, hit me up. Hit me up. Let's do these things. Alright. Well, I'm going to ride off into the sunset for now. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.